Hi, welcome to the site initiation visit training presentation for pharmacovigilance. This would incorporate SAE reporting, SUSAR's adverse event reporting for the CALIBRE trial. My name is Khalid Ahmed. I'm also known as Abdul, and I'm the Senior Trial Manager for CALIBRE. So first of all, I would like to start off by providing some definitions. First of all, for adverse events, any untoward medical occurrence in a patient or clinical trial subject administered a medicinal product, in this case it's carvedilol, which does not necessarily have a causal relationship with that treatment. Adverse reaction, any untoward and unintended response in a subject to an investigational medicinal product which is related to any dose administered to that subject. So the key here is any dose administered to that subject. And the relatedness is determined by the investigator at the site. In terms of unexpected, any adverse reaction, the nature and severity of which is not consistent with the information in question set out in the SMPC or the investigator brochure for that product. So for instance, for CALIBRE, the SMPC, the summary of product characteristics has been provided in your site files. And also we have a look at any updates. This is normally done yearly, but we do it quite regularly to see if there is any update in terms of the undesirable side effects for carvedilol. So far there isn't any, and if there is, we would let all sites know of any changes to the undesirable side effects. In terms of seriousness, so any adverse event, adverse reaction, or unexpected adverse reaction that results in death. So a death would warrant a SAE to be completed. SAE form is life-threatening, requires hospitalization or prolongation of existing hospitalization. Results in persistent or significant disability or incapacity. And the last one here is consists of a congenital abnormality or birth defect. As you're aware from my previous training slides and also the exclusion criteria for one of the exclusion criteria for CALIBRE, we are not taking anyone that is pregnant. So a participant that falls pregnant, we do withdraw that and fill in a change of status form. We still follow that patient up right till the end, and we need to fill in a pregnancy notification form for the outcome of the pregnancy. We're not looking for scans or anything for the mother, but we're looking for the outcome of the pregnancy. If it was a neonate admission, if there was any birth defects, if there was any if it was a live birth, if there was any issues, these would be captured on the pregnancy notification form. And all these forms are available from the CALIBRE trial website, but please do contact ourselves through email or phone call to discuss this further if need be. So I just wanted to sort of go over this slide and this sort of table. This table is in the CALIBRE protocol, and I really wanted to clarify what we mean by SAEs that do not require expedited reporting on an SAE form. So we do acknowledge that these events listed here, for instance, variceal bleeding, banding-related bleeding, HE, ascites, HC, spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, and HS, these are SAEs, serious adverse events. However, the reporting fashion for these should not be expedited, i.e. they shouldn't be completed within a SAE form and sent to us within 24 hours. These could be or should be reported through as AEs, adverse events, because we know this diseased cohort would experience variceal bleeding, for instance, banding-related bleeding, HE, ascites. All these would happen to these disease cohorts within this disease cohort. So these wouldn't be really expedited. They are SAEs, however, they should be reported in a different fashion. So the 4-week follow-up visit for the carvedilol arm, 6 and 12 months forms, CRFs, these should be put down on those forms as opposed to putting it on an SAE form. If there's any further clarifications that you require, please contact myself or someone from the CALIBRE Trial office. So the next slide is more of AEs, so similar fashion. So SAEs that are non-expedited should be captured on the 4 weeks for the COVID alarm, 6 and 12 months. For the AEs, it's exactly the same for the 4 weeks on the COVID alarm, 6 and 12 months on the CRFs. So for participants who have had varicose band ligation, for instance, we believe they will have abdominal pain, banding related dysphagia. So this would be captured on the 6 and 12 months form, for instance. Participants who have taken carvedilol, for instance, they may have blurred vision, bradycardia, dizziness, gastrointestinal upset, headache, lethargy, symptomatic hypertension, upper respiratory tract infection, and they may have sexual dysfunction as well. So these would be captured on the 4-week visit at that point in time if they do suffer from these side effects, or then the 6 and 12 months. In terms of treatment modification, one of our secondary outcomes is crossover. Say, for instance, a participant is randomized to the carvedilol arm. They get prescribed 12.5 milligrams per day for the first 4 weeks and the remaining 11 months from their community pharmacy, which is from their GP surgery. And obviously a REC-approved GP letter would be sent at that point in time to the GP. So the GP is aware that the participant is taking part in a research trial. So if they are intolerant to that, normally with a non-selective beta blocker such as carvedilol, if the participant is intolerant, we would find that out within the first few weeks. Hence, we have this 4-week safety visit. It's a plus or minus 1 week, so that you could see this person at clinic, at the hospital in 3 weeks, or at within the 5th week. So if they are intolerant, and you may know this through a phone call, for instance, then you would normally split the dose into 6.25 mg per twice a day. If they're still intolerant to that, then you reduce the carvedilol to just half a dose per day. If they're still intolerant to that, you change it to another beta blocker as per BHG guidelines. Similar with VBL, if they're intolerant to the VBL procedure, for instance, then they could be crossed over to carvedilol, and you start the dose at 12.5 all the time. Intolerant, split. Intolerant, reduce. Intolerant, change it to another beta blocker. At any point in time, with the clinician's discretion, or if the participant wants to switch over after randomization to the other arm straight away, that is permitted as well within the CALIBRE protocol. The participants should not be withdrawn for this. It is still within per protocol. So they should not be withdrawn, and they should be still followed up. In terms of reporting, all adverse events must be recorded in the medical records and reported to ourselves at Birmingham Clinical Trials Unit. Adverse events recorded on follow-up CRF 6 months and 12 months, and obviously for the 4-week one, the carvedilol should be reported on the 4-week visit. SA is recorded on specific form and emailed to Birmingham Clinical Trials Unit within 24 hours. And ourselves, Birmingham Clinical Trials Unit, we will report to DMEC, MHRA, and REC as appropriate. So I just wanted to talk you through the just the animation of how this would be reported. So, for instance, yourself on the left, you find out that a sort of issue has happened in terms of an event. It's non-serious. So, for instance, one of those SAs that I've explained in the previous slides, they are non-expedited ones, so known to have happened to this cohort disease group, such as ascites, for instance. This is a non-serious one. And even, say, for instance, varicose bleeding. We understand that this may be a hospitalization over 24 hours. This would be still captured on a non-serious as a non-serious CRF. So this would be not expedited. It would be just put down on the CRF, although it is over 24 hours. And then once you put it on the CRF, and then we would receive this information at Clinical Trials Unit, and then we would send it to the appropriate authorities. If it is a serious one for yourselves, as soon as you know it, within 24 hours, you report it to us via email. As you know, within the NHS, the fax systems are being phased out or have been phased out already. So please do email ourselves, fill in the SAE form. But please do give us a call before you send any SAEs, because the majority of the SAEs that come through to the clinical trials unit are normally A's or non-expedited SAEs that could be reported on the CRFs. So once we receive it, your first part of this of the SAE form would be completed by your investigator. Second part would be completed by CI, which is Dr. Juraj Chapati, and the third part would be completed by myself. And then I decide if it would need to go to DMEC, MHRA, or REC. So this is just an example of a SAE form. On the top left, the trial number. The trial number is the participant number that you receive after randomization. Please put that on each page. SAE reference number, this will be provided by ourselves through acknowledgement email to yourself once you email us the sort of initial details of the SAE. Please, again, I'm referring back to your phone call. Please do call us and give us some information. And that phone call with sort of just minimal information would suffice at that point in time. And we would acknowledge that through an email with the SAE reference number. So moving on to just the example of the SAE form. So part 1 is completed by yourselves, part 2 is completed by the CI, and part 3 is completed by myself or a delegated person in BC2. In terms of urgent reports, so all SUSARs and SAEs, so SUSARs are serious suspected unexpected serious adverse reactions and serious adverse events must be reported to BCTU within 24 hours of the site being made aware of the event. So if an event happens, for instance, at your site, say for instance if it's a death, and it happened 4 months back, but you've only had this information today, for instance, then from today, within 24 hours, you have a duty to let the sponsors, which are ourselves, know of this. So please make a phone call, explain to us, and then fill in an SAE form if need be. And these are the contact details for ourselves. So please make a phone call on 0121 414 7943 or 0121 415 8445. Faxes are phasing out, so if you're still faxing, that's absolutely fine, but please do email the CALIBRE Trial inbox and CC myself in. But as I say, going forward, faxes will be phased out, so please do rely on email. You could also, if you don't want to send it through email, then you could use Bear Data Share, which we use at the university, and most of the sites have already been set up on Bear Data Share. If you do want to be set up on Bear Data Share, please do let ourselves know, and we'll send you some instructions to encrypt the SAE form, for instance, before you send it. The website is available there. All the SAE forms and all the up-to-date relevant information and the documents are available on the website, and the address is provided there. So please do send the completed SAE form to this address. Thank you very much for listening. If there's any further questions, please do call or email us. Bye for now.